Malcolm, welcome to the Lockdown Barbecue Show. It's an absolute honour to have you on the show. How are you coping with lockdown in Mississippi?
We're managing okay, I guess, as good as anywhere. I mean, it's full mask mandates, and schools are supposed to start back Monday, and the kids are going to have to wear masks all day at school. So we're going to see how that goes. But for the most part, people are taking it very serious. In the United States, we've had some pretty high numbers, so it's been kind of shocking. We haven't really felt it, on a real personal level with serious sicknesses, but it's trying times. All my barbecue contests are canceled, so I'm having to set it home.
Are you barbecuing more and more at home because of this?
Oh yes, most definitely. We try to stay pretty regular with the YouTube channel, but it is giving me a lot more time to create content. So I'm getting to work on some recipes and and do more stuff. So that's exciting.
That's good. So I mean, your content is always fantastic. I mean, How to Barbecue Right and your YouTube videos are amazing. So how did How to Barbecue Right come about in the first place?
Well, I guess it goes back to the competition days when me and my brother got into competition at a fairly young age. We were probably high school, college, university when we first kind of started doing competition barbecues locally. Memphis and Mayl was the big world championship of pork held just about 15 minutes from where we grew up, right here. So we're in kind of the mecca of barbecue. And so it's always been in our veins, but the competition barbecue was a lot of fun. It was mainly a lot of partying and a lot of hanging out with our buddies. But then we kind of got serious with it. And then I met my wife in 2004. She wasn't my wife at the time. And, right away I knew that I was going to have to marry this woman. And she's the one that kind of came up with the idea of starting the website. And we started out with a newsletter and called it How to Barbecue Right. And she just heard me talking to my friends, and all the time people were calling me. We were always talking barbecue, and she thought it would be a great idea to pass on some of this information that I'm learning as I go. And I'm still learning about barbecue. We just enjoy creating recipes and passing them on to other people, and hopefully they turn out as good as they do for me.
They certainly look it. So, your background. What did you do before this? Were you always kind of involved in food?
No. I was in college, I worked as a bellman at a casino, so that's a totally different job. But after college, I went to work in commercial construction for an architect firm, designing commercial buildings and doing all that. So it's totally different from barbecue too. But barbecue was always the hobby. It wasn't my business or a way to earn income. It was a way to spend a lot of money. So we just figured out a way to kind of go all in and start a business where we make our own rubs and sauces, and we sell them, and we sell other people's stuff, and we, do recipes and have a podcast and the YouTube channel, the whole 9 yards. So it's turned into quite a business or a lot of work.
What an empire! It looks amazing. You must be living the dream, kind of turning it into a living, into your career. So,
well, there's no off time. That's the big thing. At least I like doing it. That's the main thing, because it's always thinking about recipes or what we're going to do next or what contest we're going to go to, or if it's questions about the products we sell. It's always something, but it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't want to do anything else. I've been doing this, I guess, for 10 years now. So, it's my career path.
Malcolm, the competition scene in America is absolutely huge. Can you tell us a little bit about it, and also a little bit about the Killer Hogs, your team?
We have, I guess, the main big two sanctioning bodies are the KCBS and the Memphis Barbecue Network. But we have the SCA, which is a state competition network that's coming on really strong. But Killer Hogs got started in the Memphis and Mayl Barbecue Network, which is all about pork. We did ribs, we did whole pork shoulders, and we did whole hog. And so that's kind of how I learned to cook barbecue, growing up competing against these guys. There's more world champions in Memphis and Mayl that live around me than anywhere else in the world. So there's, the competition was fierce. So it was either learn to cook or go home. And then I transitioned that into doing KCBS. I added the chicken and added the brisket, and then my brother started traveling around. We still kept the name Killer Hogs, even though we were cooking chicken and brisket. And we fell in love with KCBS too. And then, since the state cook-offs have come, I've even dabbled in that and been quite successful. So if it's a cooking competition, I like to get in it. It's a lot of fun.
Malcolm, you've won many competitions. Which one are you most proud of?
That's a hard one because Well, I guess what really got me started and serious was 2006. We entered the amateur division of Memphis and Mayl World Championship for the very first time. And the first time we entered it, we won. And that meant we had to turn pro. So in 2006, I actually became a pro competition barbecue cook. And so that's really what kicked it all off. The next year, Food Network followed us around and did one of their specials on 3 barbecue teams. And we were the young and up-and-comers. So that was exciting. And then from there, we just kind of blew up.
Malcolm, you touched on the fact that obviously your history is cooking whole hogs. You obviously do them amazingly. What tips would you give to somebody looking to cook the perfect pig?
Well, it's all about time and temperature on a pig, man. You've got to be able to have it in a smoker that's big enough to let proper heat flow through it. And then you've got to cook those hams and shoulders, all parts of the hog, to the proper doneness. And that's kind of tricky on a whole hog because shoulders need to go a little bit longer, a little bit higher in temperature than the hams. And then the loins, if you cook them that far, they're going to be dry and not good at all. They're going to fall apart on you. So you have to learn how to adjust your heat, move the shoulders to the hot spot, being able to spin the hog around is a big key part. But the whole thing is just staying with it and not undercooking it. That's where a lot of people, they want to rush it. They plan a whole hog party or something, event where they're going to serve it. They don't give themselves enough time, so it ends up not turning out very good. So you got to do a lot of planning if you're going to cook a whole hog.
I would absolutely love to try one of your hogs. Honestly, it's one of my dreams. So we'll make it happen one day.
One day, yeah, definitely.
Malcolm, you've got your own range of rubs and sauces. Which are your favourites?
I guess I'd have to say my original The Barbecue Rub. I find myself using that one all the time. But also the AP seasoning, which AP stands for all purpose. And we use it on everything. I mean, it can go on eggs. It goes in, if my wife's cooking soups or stocks or anything like that, we use that AP on all kinds of stuff. It's great on steak. And so I use it. We use a ton of it here at the house.
You produce a podcast with your wife, Rochelle. How long have you been making the program?
That one, I think we're in our 3rd season. We're about halfway through. We kind of go from January to December or something like that. Take a few breaks in there, but this is our 3rd season of the podcast, and it was something that we knew we wanted to do a podcast, but we didn't know what it was going to be like, and neither one of us had experience doing podcasts. So we just started and kind of gave it an insight as to what's going on with us in our lives that week. Hopefully folks find it interesting, maybe a little bit comical. Maybe they learned something. I don't know. But it's a lot of fun. It's a way for us to sit down and air our grievances, I guess, to each other.
It's a good idea. You've also got the YouTube channel, haven't you, with over 1 million subscribers. I'm here on 2,000 subscribers. So what tips can you give to somebody like me?
The biggest thing you can do on YouTube is stay consistent. Fall into a pattern of uploading content. And just stay with it. It's a slow race. That to me, it took us 10 years to get to where we are. We turned YouTube 10 back in May, like May 25th, I think was our anniversary date. And then 2 months later, we hit that 1 million mark. So it wasn't something that happened overnight. The first, probably 7 years was a slow grow, but then it just kind of starts snowballing. Once you get up over that 100,000 threshold, you'll see it grow exponentially. And so that's my best advice, and I get asked it all the time is, how can I grow my YouTube channel? You just have to be consistent. I mean, as long as you'll find your voice. YouTube's really niche. There's a lot of people with similar interests to what you have and the stuff you're putting out. You may not realize it, but 1 million people watch me. So that's crazy. I'm proof that it can happen.
It's absolutely incredible. But you must get, obviously, a lot of comments, a lot of messages, emails. How do you find the time to kind of keep up with them?
Oh, you can't. We gave up on that a long time ago. I mean, we try to get to some of them. As soon as we drop something, we try to kind of respond and stuff. But the best way to get us is to comment on the Facebook page or send an email to Rochelle or something like that. And we try to answer them all. But my inbox stays flooded. If I tried, it would take me, days, and I'd never get through it. It would constantly fill up. And, when we launch a video, it's just, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments, and you can't just sit down and get them all. But we do try.
Maybe I'm best off sticking to my 2,000 subscribers for now.
You can manage 2,000 a lot easier.
No, you certainly can, yeah.
Those people the fans that are with you from the beginning, those are the ones that really support you, and you don't realize how many people they tell and what they do for you, And so we were really adamant at the very beginning about being interactive with our fans. I mean, as you grow, it just becomes impossible. But in the beginnings, you can answer the comments and you can respond to them, and you're going to get all the hate ones. I'm supposed to have died of a heart attack 8 years ago. You know, I get the diabetes is going to kill me and all of that stuff, and we just overlook that, man. You're going to have people that throw some shade on you, but for the most part, people appreciate what you're doing and usually pretty supportive.
Well, we certainly appreciate what you're doing.
Malcolm, I really enjoyed your red snapper video, but the one I really love is your char-grilled pork chop sandwich. Where did you get the inspiration for it?
Oh, man, that was out in Iowa, which is in the Midwest, way in the Midwest for me. They do a pork loin sandwich where it's a thin pork loin, and they tenderize it out with like a meat mallet until it's this giant pork patty, and they deep fry it. And they turn it into a big fried pork loin sandwich. And so I wanted to do it on the grill, you know, and that's kind of how I came up with butterflying it and then tenderizing it out and then getting some seasonings and sauce over some coals and char grilling the glaze at the end and turning it in. And it was really fantastic. It was really tender and juicy. I highly recommend trying that one.
I'm absolutely salivating here. Absolutely salivating. Now, you've obviously got a plethora of toys, of fire toys to play with. What's your favourite? What's your favourite to cook on?
Well, my favorite's probably my old hickory CTO pit, and it's because if all else fails, I know I can load that thing up and make some money if I had to. You know, it's a beast of a barbecue pit. I like them all. I don't have just one favorite, and that's why you see me try to mix it up on the channel. You know, I'm a firm believer that you can cook good barbecue with anything as long as you learn how to manage that fire. So, you know, that's a big thing people need to understand. You don't have to drop hundreds or thousands of dollars on a barbecue pit. You can do it on just about anything as long as you use good sound technique.
So what kind of what tips, I mean, if you're talking to a younger Malcolm Reed who's just starting out in barbecue, what tips would you give yourself to kind of give you a head start?
Well, I would first, you know, kind of try to see what kind of pit that you want to cook on that's in your budget. And then I would say learn that barbecue pit inside and out. Learn how to build fires, how to control it low and slow, how to ramp it up if you want to cook hot and fast. And then once you really feel comfortable knowing how to adjust the vents and build the fire, manage the heat, then you're ready to move on to put meat on it and learning how to cook. So that's a big thing, is learn that fire management on whatever grill you're using, and you're well on your way to being a really accomplished pitmaster.
Everybody has their fair share of disasters. Everybody's kind of got a disaster story. Any that you care to let us in on?
Oh man, I've got thousands. You know, there's always something goes wrong. But yeah, I can remember one in particular was a Memphis in May contest where we were going to take our shoulders out for the evening and wrap them. You know, you kind of wrap them up once we get all the smoke and bark set, and we dropped 4 of them on the ground. So we had to pick them up, try to rinse them off, try to reseason them, put them back on, get some smoke on them. We were to rush the rest of the night. But we ended up coming in the top 10 in that contest, so it wasn't too bad. There's been all kinds though. I've had you know, power go out and sabotage a whole cook, and you know, try to fire it up all on one little grill, and I've had all kinds of things go. If it could go wrong, it probably has with me. We've had tornadoes come through. We've had, you know, it's been crazy over the years.
They're never mistakes. They're just lessons learned, aren't they?
That's the exact way I look at it. You know, it's not that you did it wrong. You got to look at it as a learning experience. So this was a good one. We were cooking in the backyard. I had some friends over watching some football on TV. We had a couple of pork loins on the smoker, and Rochelle had this big Labrador out back. He was a backyard dog, and he had watched us go in and out of the cooker multiple times to, you know, baste the pork loins or sauce them. And when we finally got to go out and take them off, he had the door open on the cooker. It ate one whole pork loin and had drugged the other one off, and he was just licking his chops. And so we had to order pizza that night.
You've obviously got the website, you've got the podcast, you've got your YouTube, you've got the competition circuit. How do you find the time to do it all?
Oh, it's very tough, and we've got a tight calendar. You know, usually we stay booked out about 6 months, so I usually know what I have to do. But you know, we try to find some downtime a couple times a year, because if you don't detach, sometimes you'll go crazy. But it's a tight schedule. It's barbecue. It's 24/7 for me. Never stops.
And you still love it as much as the day you first started?
Oh, absolutely, even more.
Perfect.
Malcolm, in the UK, we sort of read about sort of competitiveness between the different southern states with Texas and the Carolinas and Louisiana. What's Mississippi famous for in the barbecue world?
Well, we're more Memphis style here in Mississippi, so we claim the Memphis region. And, Memphis isn't just Memphis, Tennessee. It's a whole the southern style of barbecue. And ours, it starts with a good seasoning, but, we've got that sweet sauce on it. Not as sweet as Kansas City, but it's got a little bit of a tang too. And then you can't beat the dry ribs we do. That's where you really showcase the smoke and the dry rub you're using. So the Memphis style is above all. The rest of them are okay. Texas has got beef, but we got the best, and that's pork and whole hog.
Malcolm, thank you for being a fantastic guest on the Lockdown Barbecue Show.
Hey, thanks, guys. I really enjoyed it. Let's do it again sometime.
Definitely, Malcolm, definitely. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. That's a lot of fun.